Need computer training for a group or office? Contact us today to get a free demo of our training at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.
Cropping allows you to trim away parts of an image that are unnecessary. You can crop an image using the crop tool in the toolbox, which has the most options for cropping available to you. To crop an image, click the crop tool to enable that feature, and then examine the options bar. If you do not want the cropped selection to be resampled when it is cropped, then ensure that the text boxes in the options bar are cleared of values. If, however, you do wish to resample the image after cropping it, then enter a width, height, or resolution for the cropped image into the appropriate boxes. Next, click and drag around the area that you want to keep to select it. The marquee that appears can be adjusted later if necessary. Then note that your options available in the options bar have changed. You can select either hide to hide the area that will be cropped away, or you can select delete to delete the area that will be cropped away. Now, note that in Photoshop you cannot crop a background layer by hiding, and since that's all we're using right here is an image with a background layer, that is not available to us. So we'll have to delete here. You use the Crop Guide overlay, which is available only in Photoshop CS5, this drop down right here, to select which, if any, displayed guidelines you would like. These guidelines can help when placing other elements in your image. You can choose, first of all, rule of thirds for guides that divide the image into 1/3 increments, or you could select grid to display fixed guides with spacing dependent on the size of the image, or none for no guides at all. Next, check the shield checkbox if you want the area to be discarded to appear shaded. So that's right here, otherwise it won't be shaded. Now, if you want a shield, you can set its color and opacity next to the shield checkbox, so you could change the color to blue or green or just about anything you want. Now, if you need to adjust the cropped selection, you can click and drag on the small resizing squares that surround the selection area to scale the selection. So I can click and drag like that to make adjustments to it. You can click and drag in the selection borders to move the selection. So you can just click and drag around to move that selection wherever you like. You can also click and drag slightly outside of the selection area to rotate the selection. So I could go up to the corner here and click and drag like that to crop like that if I like. Now, if you want to change the center point around which the marquee rotates, click on the center point and drag it to your new desired location. And then when you rotate, it'll rotate around that new center, like that. When you're ready to crop away the unselected areas, click the Confirm checkbox up here in the options bar. It looks like a little check mark. Or click the Cancel button to not complete the crop. And you'll see what the crop looks like. Now, another neat thing that you can do while using the crop tool is change the perspective on the image. You may use this to change the angle that the photo appears to have been taken from. For example, if you took an image of a tall building that was taken from the ground floor, the top of the building appears to taper off in the photograph. You can then use the crop tool to change the perspective so that it appears as though the image were taken from directly across from the building instead of below and under it. You can then make the image appear as if it were being viewed from almost any angle using the feature. To use it, open the image that you want to change the perspective. Select the object in the image whose perspective you wish to adjust using the crop tool. So we'll go ahead and click and drag around. Remember, we can move that selection around if we want. Then click the perspective checkbox up here. Make sure that's selected. And you'll have some additional resizing handles that appear at the sides of the image. You just click and drag the borders of the selection inward or outward until they trace the border of the object whose perspective you're trying to change. So we can just click and drag around and kind of trace that object. When you've accomplished this, click the Confirm checkbox up in the options bar here to confirm your perspective shift. And you'll see that it changes the perspective. It's not perfect, but it does allow you a little bit of flexibility when changing perspective on an image like that.
Like what you see? Get a free demo of our training for groups of 5 or more at www.teachucomp.com/enterprise-licensing.